hitting neighborhoods looking for criminals and guns, trying to put a dent in all the violence.
Only on WDRB tonight, Valerie Chin goes undercover with Metro Police to see what they're doing to clean up our streets.
See your hands, put your hands on top of the car.
Guns, drugs, and cash.
It's a real-life game of cat and mouse. Thing that's trying to get you in trouble.
Officers of the 9th Mobile Division, all in unmarked cars, never know what they'll find when they hit the streets each night.
A lot of these little girls are prostitutes. The ones you see hanging around over here.
WDRB went undercover with Sergeant Rob King and Detective Billy Cundiff overnight. From carjackings to assisting the ATF to murders and shootings, 9th Mobile is responding to violent crimes.
Our primary areas of focus are the 1st Division, 2nd Division, and the 4th Division. We do venture into the 6th, the Newburgh area, quite a bit.
Lieutenant William Hibbs with the 9th Mobile Division says every week he gets updated maps showing the hotspots.
Right now, we've had a little influx in activity south of Broadway, right around Greenwood Avenue, in anywhere between 45th and 38th Street.
Tips from places like the Portland and Russell neighborhoods lead police to hit those areas, as well as Smoketown, Shelby Park, and Newburgh.
This is them.
Here, police were watching a car. Then another car pulls up next to us and a second car in front of us.
Serious? Are you freaking kidding me?
I don't know.
You hit my light and you grab him and I'll grab him?
All right.
Ready?
Am I grabbing?
You grab that car, I'll grab him. Hey, man. Quit reaching! See your hands, put your hands on top of the car.
Out of the 5 people, 4 were arrested. Some had outstanding warrants, and police also found marijuana.
Ain't no guns, nothing in here?
He was talking about we were rolling a blunt that's up here.
Okay, well, he's got some more weed on him back here. Ain't a gun or nothing in here? Put your hands on the back of that seat for me.
These guys were taken to Metro Corrections, and then it was off to the next location.
Why are you so nervous?
Because you just pulled me over.
I know, but you're shaking, like physically shaking.
9th Mobile started as a group called Operation Trust when the Viper unit was dismantled. Since February of 2015, it's taken 749 guns off the streets.
What kind of guns are you confiscating?
Everything. We just seized a .45 caliber Tommy gun last week. Stacked to the hilt, completely ready to go. Everything you can imagine.
Police say people are selling guns on the streets for $150 and $200. 9th Mobile says 16% of the guns confiscated are stolen. 275 came from convicted felons and 44 from juveniles. We found a group of kids hanging around a gas station around midnight, no sign of their parents. How young do you think these kids are?
Oh, that little kid there is like 10 years old. Why are you out so late?
Bro, I came from soccer practice.
What time was soccer practice?
Soccer practice was over like about 8.
So you've been over the last 4 hours?
It's just after midnight, and on this traffic stop, police found even more drugs. How much is that worth?
In the back seat.
I don't know. It's probably what?
From Newburgh.
4 ounces?
Yeah. Either probably just bought it there.
Yeah.
Well, he's driving.
It smells pretty good too. Smell it. It's pretty good. Good quality.
Police say the 2 men had $1,800 in cash.
I mean, we'll stop guys out here that's got $4,000 and $5,000 cash on them. And I'll ask them, like, well, where do you work at? I don't have a job.
Someone's smoking weed.
Yeah, it might have been a car.
Yeah. Smell it?
9th Mobile and Operation Trust have confiscated a lot of drugs while looking for guns. More than 7,500 pills and 163 pounds of marijuana.
Relax. In front of the crib and you checking. Nah, I'm not relaxed because I don't even like y'all because y'all always do this. I was sitting on the porch last time, nighttime. Y'all in the alley. Y'all come around busting you and jump up on my porch. I don't got nothing to say.
All right. We just drove by. We smelled marijuana. We turned around. We're being respectful, are we not? Okay. Just relax.
Right here. Kill them lights. I'm okay. Look like 4th Division.
We're on 13th. Hang on.
Police are now heading to the Park Hill housing project. The LMPD helicopter is up just after 12:30 a.m. as police are looking for a carjacking suspect. Officers are searching all around the complex, setting up a perimeter. You can see the stolen car. It hit a pole, the doors are open, and 2 people inside took off running.
The gun?
Okay.
Go. We found one.
The gun was ditched in the bushes along with a black t-shirt. No sign of the men, and it makes it difficult once they run into a housing complex. But police think they'll eventually be found along with other criminals.
We take great pride in that. We take pride in the fact that we are interacting with the worst of the worst. I've got 3 binders here of those individuals. We track, we know, we study these individuals and their associates.
What's your goal for your department?
Major Thompson said it best before. Our goal is to keep people alive every single night.
For King and Cundiff, that's their goal too.
We're on the streets. We're not as visible, but we still have the community's best interest at mind.
Valerie Chin, WDRB News. More shootings, more killings, more violence.
Many guns are being sold on the streets.
The number of murders in Metro Louisville at a 40-year high. Most of those deaths brought on by bullets.
I know that guns don't kill people, people do. But in this case, we have lots of people using guns to shoot and in many cases kill people.
That's even a concern LMPD Chief Steve Conrad shared with city leaders. Over the summer, WDRB rode along with the 9th Mobile Division in crime hotspots. Its mission to pull guns off the streets.
See your hands, put your hands on top of the car.
By state law, once the criminal cases involving guns are closed, the weapons go to the Kentucky State Police confiscated gun auction and are sold only to federal firearms dealers. Here you'll find hundreds of handguns and rifles going to the highest bidder.
What was the average price in there?
It just depends. They went anywhere from $5 to $1,100. Just depends on what kind of gun you want.
20% of the proceeds go to KSP. The other 80% goes to the Kentucky Office of Homeland Security to provide grants for body armor and other equipment.
Any worry that some of these guns will just end up back on the streets?
Yeah, so we've heard that before. Basically, this is the best process allowed by law.
Dealers are required to record and report the sale of weapons to the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms.
Once a gun is purchased at a gun store or Walmart or any federal firearms licensed dealer, the gun can be sold to whoever after that point.
So there's no telling where these guns will end up?
It's no different than a gun show where a person's selling a gun to each other privately or anything else after it's sold at a legitimate business of a federal firearms licensed dealer.
WDRB found there's no database for what happens to that gun if it's sold from person to person. Back in March of 2012, a man says he was robbed at gunpoint in the restroom of this Cane Run Road McDonald's. It was a silver .25 caliber Lorson handgun, similar to this. Police confiscated that gun and it was stored in a police gun vault while the case was pending. 2 years later, it was released to Kentucky State Police. WDRB uncovered 3 months after that, in July of 2014, the gun was sold at auction to B&G Firearms Incorporated of Paducah. In April of this year, here in Jeffersontown at Siena Court and Kirby Lane, that same Lorson handgun was used for another crime. Police were called to this house for terroristic threatening.
The fact that it has happened is troubling, and you know, I have no doubt that that gun was purchased by a reputable federal firearms dealer who sold that gun lawfully, following all of the rules, but then that gun ended up stolen. It ended up being taken out of someone's car. It ended up being used by a friend, and somehow or another that gun got back out on the street.
Richard Penn was arrested for threatening to kill several people. Police tased Penn and found that loaded silver Lorson .25 caliber gun in his back pocket. His mother says he likely bought it from a friend. Penn pled guilty in the case and the gun was ordered back to the Kentucky State Police for auction again.
What are your thoughts when you see more and more cases like this where a gun is committed in a crime, is sold at auction, and back on the streets for another crime?
You know, I think that is just indicative of the problem with this program.
I have the utmost respect for Chief Conrad, but we disagree. I don't think that by selling these guns we are putting any additional harm out there toward the community. People are going to be able to buy weapons from retail distributors whether we auction the guns off or not.
Conrad says he knows of 40 cases over several years where guns sold at auction were later back on the streets.
Again, if I thought this was a systemic problem in putting the guns in the hands of criminals, I wouldn't support it. I'm just not convinced that's happening.
I've just got a fundamental concern about weapons that we've had to deal with once that have been used in a crime finding their ways back to our streets where they can be used again.
Valerie Chin, WDRB News.
If it's the product of a crime, it comes here.
Handguns, rifles, and shotguns.
Purchased a lot of Smith & Wessons, a lot of Rugers, and a lot of Colts.
Thousands of guns pulled off the streets.
A lot of single action, kind of like cowboy guns.
By police departments across Kentucky, all up for sale. This is a Kentucky State Police confiscated weapons auction in July.
So there's a little bit of profit there for dealers like myself.
We saw dealers carting out all kinds of guns, some not happy our cameras were outside.
It's actually none of your business what I bought.
No. You'll find a wide range of dealers, from big names like Cabela's to those who deal guns out of their homes. The parking lot is full. There are cars from Indiana, Ohio, North Carolina, and all over Kentucky, all to attend this auction for these guns.
Like that old Winchester I just put in, a lot of the old collector guns, that's what I look for.
The sign says Kentucky State Police confiscated weapons auction, dealers only. Even though this is a state-run event on state property, even the media can't get inside to see the guns.
It's just a requirement that you have to be a federally firearms licensed dealer in order to enter the auction. It's a standard requirement.
What about transparency? Some people think that's not really being transparent to the public.
It's just a regulation.
Kentucky law requires that weapons used in crimes eventually come here if police can't find the gun's legal owner.
They give you an hour to inspect them. Is that enough time to really figure out if you want them or not?
It's probably not, and you can't see them real well. You know, they've got some of them wire tied to the racks, and you can't really, we've gotten burnt couple times.
KSP held 5 auctions so far this year with 3,555 guns and weapons. The proceeds totaling more than $574,000. 20% of the proceeds go to KSP. The other 80% funds law enforcement grants.
I know of troopers that are handing down old vests to them because their department can't afford a vest. I want to do what I can to make law enforcement safe.
Putting guns back on the street is not useful. I understand the desire to get the guns back in circulation.
LMPD Chief Steve Conrad says his department has received 4 grants for body armor. WDRB uncovered LMPD provided nearly 1/3 of the nearly 4,400 confiscated guns last year. Conrad says in 40 cases over a number of years, guns from these auctions were somehow used again to commit another crime.
But should guns be recycled this way? Why not destroy the guns?
Well, I don't think by recycling the weapons we're really creating any additional danger. You're still going to have guns available for purchase through retail distributors, whether we have an auction or not.
The National Rifle Association points out there's no permit or registration required for Kentuckians to own a gun.
To buy a weapon anywhere, it should be registered. You know, the gun shows and this kind of thing, I see no reason not to register them, and that's a problem, you know, to me. And I'm a dealer, you know, but personally, there's a couple things that the NRA could be a little more lenient on.
I believe New York City had already seized 3,000 guns at this point this year, and New York City, those guns are all being destroyed. Changing the law and allowing them to be destroyed is the only way that I can think that we might make a dent in it. But quite frankly, there are so many guns out there, and guns are so easy to acquire through that secondhand market that is out there and is, you know, very robust, is going to continue to put guns on the street.
Valerie Chin, WDRB News.